gentlemen, boys and girls. I am yours truly, the one and only Brother Ricky, and I am happy to be here with you, or with all of you, here on P Stars Radio. Time is now 10:34 a.m. Please do excuse me for my absence for last Tuesday. It was the start of, or officially, the start of classes for me, which is why I was not able to make it for my show on Tuesday. So please excuse me for that. I will be trying to make plans or discussions in terms of what I'll be able to do in terms of finding a different time or an hour to do my shows. But yeah, please do forgive me for that. I do apologize. I'm happy that I can be here with you guys again as per usual. And I just want to jump right into this, all right? So let's start off with this. We are now quickly advancing into the NFL playoffs, where we are now in the divisional rounds, okay? We are now officially in the divisional rounds of the NFL playoff. And man, one of the teams that I did tell you about that I was going to see or going to watch because of the interests that I had, or some of the interesting things that I've saw throughout this team, was the Chicago Bears. Okay, so I did tell you guys I was gonna tune in to the game between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. These are one of the two rival teams. Okay, these are one of the two rival teams that were scheduled to go up against each other, and the Bears again did not fail to surprise me, okay? They clearly did not fail to surprise me, because they came out with the dub over the Green Bay Packers to eliminate them from the playoffs, to now being able to advance into the divisional rounds of the NFL playoffs. So the game between the Bears and the Packers came out with the Bears finishing off with 31 and the Packers finishing off with 27. Now, I think for this game, yes, if I'm not mistaken, this game was a game, again, where the Bears came out on top at the last minute. I believe it was the fourth quarter of their matchup, where Green Bay were starting off strong, okay? So they came off strong during the first three quarters of the match. Hold on, real fast. Yeah, these guys again, man. These guys definitely surprised me for sure. Yes, I was right. So the fourth quarter was when they took off completely. So So for the first quarter between the Packers and the Bears, the Packers came off with 7 points with 7 points for the first quarter, and the Bears came off with 3. Then for the second, the Packers came off even stronger, right, with 14 to secure for the second quarter, and then the Bears came up with nothing. Okay, then the third quarter came in, where the Packers couldn't put anything in the scoreboard to help them keep up the pace or keep up the momentum to secure that win, right? While the Bears, on the other hand, came up with 3 points. The fourth quarter here was when everything turned around, okay? Everything shifted, right? And everything just went completely off rails for the Packers, at least. So the Chicago Bears came in with for the fourth quarter with 25, okay? 25 points in the fourth quarter, while the Packers only finished off with 6, okay? So I'm trying to figure out exactly what. So for Caleb Williams, he seemed to put in much more passing yards compared to Jay Love for the Packers. Caleb Williams put up 361 points, and if I remember correctly, it was during their, I forgot what it was, if it was over the two minute mark for the fourth quarter. Caleb Williams threw an accuracy pinpoint shot throw, I believe at the end zone for one of his players to help them secure another 7 or 6. I think it was another 7 points for the touchdown. I'm talking that accuracy was so pinpoint. That accuracy was just so like on point actually, where the catch was crazy to me. Okay, you guys would have to watch it yourself to see exactly what I'm talking about, because again, this seemed like the recent matchup before this that the Bears had with the Packers that allowed them to beat the Packers on their recent matchups before the playoffs. Okay, but Caleb Williams put in 361 passing yards. Okay, J Love put up 323 passing yards. That was for the entire game. And then you have, for the rushing yards, you have D Swift, who came in with 54 rushing yards, and then Jay Jacobs with 55 rushing yards. These are your running backs here. And then for I believe for both teams, they both had at least one. Yeah, they both definitely had one sack for their respective team. I think all around their defense was still good for both teams. Defense up to par. Now again, the defense for the Bears seemed to be better to the point where, again, they're able to help Caleb Williams get enough breathing room, should I say, to be able to make the right passes or the necessary passes for his running back or for his wide receivers to be able to get the catch and ultimately get these yards in to ultimately get touchdowns or field goal kicks. All right, so I keep saying this for really just all football teams in general. If you're able to protect the quarterback, they have enough breathing room to make the right plays, the right passes, to be able to put enough points for your team, right? If you don't have enough protection for your quarterbacks, you're basically just sitting ducks out there. Literally. You got guys sacking quarterbacks left and right. This was especially for the game between the Patriots and the Chargers, which I'm about to get into. But you got to be able to protect your quarterbacks as much as possible, right? To be able to at least get a first down, right? To get at least a first down, to be able to get close enough to the end zone to either get a field goal kick or a touchdown, right? But you gotta have that protection, okay? So for this game between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, again, it didn't seem too sloppy or too crazy. And I'm speaking like as if I'm like, an elite an elite or a professional football player. I'm just going based off of what I'm seeing, all right? But both defense from both teams look to be very very decent or very good up to par. So that was the Green Bay Packers and the Bears. That game again did not disappoint in terms of the Chicago Bears, because now again they get to advance into the divisional rounds of the playoff, where they are now going to face the Los Angeles Rams, who has recently defeated the Panthers during the wild card match in the playoffs. But I'll get into that as well. But that's going to be the divisional rounds with the Bears, who will now be facing the Los Angeles Rams in the divisional rounds of the NFL playoff. And then we also have the San Francisco 49ers, who will be taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, it is with a heavy heart for all the Eagles fans out there. It is with a heavy heart that the Philadelphia Eagles have officially been eliminated from the NFL playoffs. Now, the possibility was there for them to make a two-peat, or a repeat, should I say, of getting another Super Bowl championship, right? It was there. But, unfortunately, San Francisco has told them no. And I talked about this before with them, the 49ers, bringing back their their quarterback, which was Brock Brock Purdy, who just came back recently from an injury. Yeah, so it's Brock Purdy, who came back from an injury, and I was speculating on whether this was a good gamble for the San Francisco 49ers because again, just coming back from an injury, that would be a very big risk because I believe the injury was on his right arm, somewhere in his right arm, and I believe his right arm is his throwing arm. He's a quarterback, right? He's a quarterback, so he's going to be making these throws, these pinpoint throws to their wide receivers or their running backs, whoever it is, to be able to put them rushing yards in or to put them yards in to get first downs or get close enough to get a touchdown or a field goal kick, right? But this seemed to be a very good gamble or a well-made gamble by the San Francisco 49ers to automatically put Brock Purdy in the lineup just coming back from his injury because it served well for them being able to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles with 23 and the Eagles finishing off with 19, okay? So for the stats here, we got Brock Purdy coming in with 262 passing yards for the 49ers, while Jalen Hurts only came up with 168 passing yards. Now, for this here, the defense here, these guys, I'm sure they got in a lot of sacks here. Because, again, it didn't seem like the protection for the quarterback was up there. There was not a lot. At least what it seemed to me, because I watched the highlights for the game, and it didn't seem like they had enough protection to the point where Jalen Hurts had the breathing room to make the right passes or to make the necessary passes or to be able to make enough yards to get in enough touchdowns, right? That seemed to be it looked very bad in terms of the defense for the Philadelphia Eagles. The rushing yards, we had Saquon Barkley with 106. We had McCaffrey with 48 rushing yards. And the receiving yards for D. Smith, for the wide receiver D. Smith, only came up with 70 receiving yards. And then for D. Robinson, he had 111. Okay? So, yeah, they made a very they made a very well decisive gamble to immediately put Brock Purdy back in the lineup for the playoffs, their playoffs match with the Philadelphia Eagles, which again resulted in them finishing off with 23 and Philadelphia 19. So for the first quarter, San Francisco came up with 7 points, while the Philadelphia Eagles were only able to put in 6. And then for the second quarter, 49ers slowed down a little bit, and they were only able to put up 3 points for the second quarter, while the Philadelphia Eagles came up with 7 points. So that's like a touchdown. It's like one touchdown for that quarter. Yeah, it could have been like one touchdown for that quarter, but 3 for 49ers and 7 for the Philadelphia Eagles on the second quarter. And then the third quarter, the 49ers were not able to put up anything. 0, nada, for the third quarter. And then for the Eagles, they were able to put up 3 for the third quarter. And then finally for the fourth quarter, that's when the 49ers were able to find their momentum to be able to drop 13 for the fourth quarter. And then Philly was only able to put up 3. Only 3 for the remaining quarter of the matchup, which again resulted with the 49ers finishing off with 23 points and the Philadelphia Eagles with 19 points, which concluded with the Eagles being eliminated from the playoffs with no possibility of making a repeat for the Super Bowl championship. So for all the Eagles fans out there, I feel you. I feel your pain. It sucks. It is what it is. But okay, but there is always a next year. All right, there's always a next year. And then finally, I want to get into the Patriots and the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. Now this was yeah. I can't even find the words for this. The Los Angeles Chargers defense was so weak. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I watched the highlights for the game between the Patriots and the Chargers. And yeah, man, there's so much sacks left and right. Man, I don't believe I don't believe what I'm seeing here, bro. The sacks were ridiculous, or at least the lack of protection for the quarterback was ridiculous. And Drake May, this guy is a sniper. Drake May for the New England Patriots is a sniper. This man has 268 passing yards for the Patriots, while Jay Herbert for the Chargers had only 159 passing yards. Again, this man May was throwing pinpoint accuracy throws, making the right necessary throws for his team. I'm talking about wide receivers, running backs, to be able to get the touchdowns. But mostly, I believe a lot of the points are mostly coming from the field goal kicks as well, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Drake May 268 passing yards, and then Drake May with 66 rushing yards. I also remember that too, enough to be able to get as much first downs for their team, for the Patriots, to be able to get enough field goal kicks to up their points in the scoreboard. So Drake May also coming in with 66 rushing yards. And then Stevenson, the running back for the Patriots, had 75 receiving yards for the Patriots. And then we have, again, Jay Herbert with 159 passing yards. Jay Herbert, again, with 57 rushing yards. And then McConkey, who was the wide receiver for the Chargers, with 32 receiving yards. Now it does say here that Owe, I hope I'm not butchering that name, but he's a linebacker. Owe for the Chargers had 3 sacks on the Patriots, while Williams, their defensive end for the Patriots, had 2 sacks on the Chargers. Now, again, it looked to be the case where the Chargers were getting the Patriots were getting way more sacks on the Chargers, because based off of what I saw on the highlights, the protection or the defense for the Chargers were so weak. Like, it was ridiculous, to the point where it's like, yeah, it's understandable why the game ended off with the Patriots winning 16, while the Chargers only had 3. I'm going to say that again. The Patriots finished off with 16, while the Chargers only finished off with 3. 3 points, man. This is wild, okay? That was wild to me. So, for the first quarter, the Chargers couldn't come up with anything, okay? And again, it's also for the same as well for the New England Patriots. They too couldn't come up with anything for the first quarter. It was both 0-0. And then for the second quarter, you had the Chargers coming in with 3 points, while the Patriots came up with 6 points. 6 points for the second quarter. And then for the rest of the entire quarters afterwards, for the third and fourth quarter, the Chargers couldn't put up anything. They could not put up not one thing on the scoreboard for their team, which means that the only time they could have ever put up any points was during the second quarter, which was, again, 3 points. And then for the third quarter for the Patriots, they dropped 3. And then for the fourth, they dropped 7 points. So, yeah, you could have you could basically say this was a blowout game, right? Because it wasn't that far off, where the Patriots had more points than the Chargers. But you can basically call this a blowout game. Again, the Patriots finished off with 16 points, while the Chargers finished off with 3. Okay, so yeah, man. Again, they got a very good quarterback, and I'm talking about the Patriots here. The Patriots have a very good quarterback in Drake May, because again, this man, this fella right here, he's doing something. All right, this man is doing something in terms of like his play style. Um, he's thinking on his feet. He's cool under pressure. Granted, they did get some sacks on this guy, but he's cool under pressure. What was his passing yards throughout the entire season was 4,000. Okay, 4,394 passing yards throughout the regular season of the NFL. And I don't know if this is his first. I don't know if he's a rookie. If this is his rookie season. Is this his rookie season? No. This should be his second season in the NFL. Yeah, second season. Over 4,000 passing yards, 31 touchdowns. And 31 touchdowns for his regular season in the NFL. So, yeah, man, the Patriots got somebody good here. They got somebody good here, and hopefully he can take them farther into the NFL playoffs, because now they will be facing, who will they be facing? Okay, yeah, so they will be facing the Houston Texans. And the Houston Texans, that was a blowout game. That was a blowout game. The Houston Texans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, man. That was a blowout game. I don't know if I'll have enough time to go through that for now, but I'll just leave this here for you guys to you guys be the judges of this yourself. You tell me if this was a blowout game. The resulting score between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Texans was Houston 30. Okay, Houston dropped 30, while the Pittsburgh Steelers dropped 6. Again, Houston 30, Steelers 6. You be the judge of whether that is a blowout game or not, okay? But the Houston Texans will now be facing off against the Patriots in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. And then the Buffalo Bills, who has just recently defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars with 27-24, will now be going up against the Denver Broncos in the divisional playoffs, the divisional rounds of the NFL playoff. All right, so those are your matches for the NFL playoffs. Again, the 49ers will be taking on the Seattle Seahawks, I believe today, actually. Yeah, so their match is going to be today at 8 p.m. The San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks today at 8 p.m. And then also today, we have the Buffalo Bills, who will be going up against the Denver Broncos at 4:30 p.m. Okay? So these are your matchups today for the NFL playoffs. And I did say I was going to bring up my predictions. We're going to be doing predictions. And so what it looks like to me, right, from what I'm seeing here, the Buffalo Bills, they got a good squad on their hands. They got a good quarterback in Josh Allen. And I think this definitely could be a very tough matchup for the Buffalo Bills, because the Denver Broncos, have they went 14-3 for the regular season of the NFL. 14-3. These guys are going ham, okay? These guys are going ham. So, yeah, this could definitely prove to be a very tough match for the Buffalo Bills. But if they can play their cards well, and again, if they could have their defense under control, good enough to the point where they can protect the quarterback to be able to again make the necessary throws or the necessary plays, then I definitely think that they have a shot. I think so, but again, it does prove, or it's going to prove to be challenging going up against a team who went 14-3 for the regular season of the NFL. I'm just saying, that's just me. All right, but for the Houston Texans and the Patriots, I think the Patriots are gonna make quick work of the Houston Texans. I might be too optimistic here. Okay, I'll admit it. I might be too optimistic here with my predictions, but yeah, I think these guys can make quick work of the Houston Texans because I think the Houston Texans, their defense is not really up there, right? It might be pretty bad. I might be going crazy here, but I don't think their defense is. I might be crazy here. I might be crazy here because I don't know. It's either that or their quarterback is not really, at least from what I'm seeing, not really good while under pressure. Because when you got a lot of sacks coming at you, or you got a lot of a lot of the defensive side of the team rushing at you, right? I don't think their quarterback, I forgot his name too, the Houston Texans quarterback. I don't know how well he does under pressure, right? Because it doesn't seem to be that great. But who knows? I might prove to be very, very off course here with my predictions. But we'll wait and see, okay? We will wait and see what that looks like. But I'm putting my cards on the Patriots here, advancing into the conference playoffs of the NFL playoffs. All right, but for the Chicago Bears and the Rams, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably betting here that the Chicago Bears are gonna surprise me again because that's what they have been doing throughout the regular season of the NFL. The Bears have been surprising me. So I am going to be expecting them to surprise me some more, right? I don't want to say that they are going to beat the Los Angeles Rams, right? Because they do have a better record here in terms of their regular season win-loss ratio compared to the Bears. But hey, I'm still expecting them to surprise me here, okay? That's all I'm expecting here. Seja Zila, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. You are one of the best to ever do it. Mom, thanks for also tuning in as well. I really appreciate it. You are one of the best, all right? But yeah, I'm expecting the Bears to surprise me. That's all I'm going to say. I expect them to surprise me. I don't expect them to win or to beat the Rams. I may be wrong here, but I don't have a prediction for that. And then as far as the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks do prove to be a very well-rounded team, very good also. So I think Seattle's gonna take this one. I think Seattle's gonna take this one. These are just predictions. I'm not some guru here, right? Who knows exactly the ins and outs or the intricate details of what each team has in terms of quarterback, running backs, and well-rounded defensive tight ends and stuff like that. I don't know the intricate details of that, but again, Seattle still proves to be one of the greatest teams out there, at least so far in this specific season. Okay, so I do think that the Seattle Seahawks are going to take it over the San Francisco 49ers, but I may be wrong. But also as well, we don't have long to find that out because again, their match is going to be happening tonight at 8 p.m. Okay, the divisional rounds for the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers will be happening tonight. So we'll just have to wait and see what the outcomes are in terms of the results for this matchup. All right, but those are my predictions. I do want to let off with this too before I get off. So there are trade rumors that are going to be happening with the Grizzlies in terms of trading Ja Morant, their star player. Now we are a bit early in terms of the trade deadlines for the NBA because I believe the trade deadlines will be happening on the 5th, if I'm not mistaken, the 5th of February in the NBA, which is going to be where the trade deadlines are going to be taking place. Now, again, we had an early trade happen recently, I believe last week or so, with the Atlanta Hawks trading their star player, which was Trae Young, to the Washington Wizards, while they received C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert for that trade package between the Washington Wizards and the Atlanta Hawks. And now the Grizzlies are making talks of trading their star player as well, Ja Morant, to a different team. Now they haven't decided who Ja Morant will be going in the or what team he will be going to in this trade, but there are speculations that there are quite a few teams who are in the talks of receiving Ja Morant from the Grizzlies. And so the teams are the Miami Heat, the Toronto Raptors, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Sacramento Kings. These are the four teams that have interest in receiving Ja Morant from the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I, for one, personally, I want to see Ja Morant come to the Miami Heat. All right? I think they could add a little bit more help. I'm trying to figure out who they might trade, though. If the Heat were to receive Ja Morant, I'm trying to figure out who they might trade to receive him because they're gonna have to make a big trade. Any of these teams are gonna have to make a big trade in order to receive Ja Morant because he is a star player, a very talented player at that. It just seems to be that the Grizzlies are tired of him, and I don't blame them. Right? Ja Morant needs to get his act together, but he is a very talented star player, and so they're gonna have to make a very big trade. Whatever team he goes to, they're gonna have to make a very big trade. Maybe not too big, but a big enough trade to be able to receive him into their team. So I don't know what that's gonna look like for the Miami Heat, but I would like to see him come over to the Miami Heat, right? To be able to provide some support there because I think the Miami Heat right now, they're not sitting at a very, should I say, decent spot in terms of their road to the playoffs. I don't think they're sitting at a very decent spot. I don't know. They might have to make some adjustments on their team, but who knows? That adjustment that they need could be in Ja Morant. Who knows? It could be, it could not be, right? We don't know, but we'll just have to see what that looks like in terms of how they will be able to restructure their team. And again, this goes for any of the teams, because they're gonna have to make some adjustments in bringing in Ja Morant because they're definitely going to include them in their roster for the rest of the NBA season. All right, but yeah, that's what it's looking like so far. Again, the trade hasn't been made yet for Ja Morant, but it does seem to be the case where that trade might be happening sooner rather than later before the trade deadline happens in the NBA, which is again on the 5th of February, all right? So that's all I have for you today. I'm way over the mark. I will give you your verse of the day, but before I do that as well, I'm going to give you your games for today. So for today in the NBA, we have the Jazz going up against the Mavs at 5 o'clock. We have the Pacers going up against the Pistons at 7:30. We have the Suns going up against the New York Knicks, again at 7:30. We have the Celtics going up against the Hawks at 7:30. We have the Timberwolves facing off against the Spurs at 8 p.m. The Thunder's going up against the Miami Heat at 8 p.m. The Hornets going up against the Warriors at 8:30 p.m. We have the Wizards facing off against the Nuggets at 9 p.m. And then finally we have the Lakers who will be facing off against the Trailblazers at 10 p.m. And then again for your playoffs, the NFL playoffs, 2 matches today, which is going to be between the San Francisco 49ers, going up against the Seattle Seahawks again at 8 p.m. tonight. And finally, we have the Buffalo Bills who will be facing off against the Denver Broncos at 4:30 p.m. today. Now, the verse of the day. The verse of the day will be coming from Philippians chapter 2, verses 14 through 16. Again, the verse will be coming from Philippians chapter 2, verses 14 through 16. Verset ap soti nan Philippians chapitre 2, verset 14 jusqu'au 16. I will begin reading, and it reads, "Do everything without complaining or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God, without fault in a crooked and depraved generation, in which you shine like stars in the universe as you hold out the word of life." All right? In everything that you do, the verse is self-explanatory, but in everything that you do it with humility. Do it with humbleness. If God put something in your heart to do for somebody else, please do not take the chance to neglect it. Do it, okay? Because in everything that you do, especially for the Lord, there is a blessing within that. And that's something that I want to make sure I hit home with everybody, right? There's a blessing in everything you do when you do it for the Lord, because the things that God put into your life, the things that God puts into your life to do for somebody else, you don't know what kind of impact that you may be having when you do something for somebody. You truly do not know that, right? The person may not let you know that overtly. They may not let you know that, in the moment. But whatever you do for somebody can have a huge impact in that person's life, okay? And so I encourage you all to not neglect it, because we are already living in a time or in a world where people are just closed off to other people. People are cold-hearted to one another, right? People are, very, should I say, standoffish. That's not even a word, but standoffish to their fellow, coworkers, friends, family members, so on and so forth, right? In a time where God calls upon us to love one another, right? Right? To love one another as we love, as we love Him. It's very difficult, it's very hard, but it's something that is necessary for us to do, because whatever we do for somebody else can definitely have a huge impact in their life, and it can turn their trajectories to the point where they themselves want to understand who you are as a person. And in the process of doing so, in the process of them understanding who you are as a person, they can then come to learn the kind of God that you are serving in your life, where they now can make the decision to follow God or to follow Jesus, and to have a deeper relationship with Him in their personal life, okay? So don't take it as a little thing or a small thing or something that's not very important. Anytime God puts something in your life to do for somebody else, I encourage you, I exhort you, please, please, please do it, okay? God will bless you in advance and in the process, all right? But that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Again, the verse comes from Philippians chapter 2, verses 14 through 16. Read it, meditate on it, and pray on it, all right? I love you guys. Again, I will try to work around the schedules for my Tuesday shows, because, again, I just recently started up with classes again, right? I'm back in school, and my hours that I would normally put in for Tuesday shows, I may have to change them. So do not worry. I will keep you up to date with that. And I do appreciate you and thank you for your patience with me. It's very much so appreciated, and God will bless you in advance. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you until then.